Ankit, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So let's start the session for today. So today I will be talking about internationalization in Angular. So before going to topic, let me introduce myself. So Stephen has given a nice introduction, but let me talk a bit about myself also. I am Ankit Sharma. I am an author and a speaker and also a Google developer expert for Angular. I am working as a senior member technical with ADP at Hyderabad, India. And you can find me on Twitter at ankisharma underscore 007 and my blog at ankisharmablogs.com. So let's talk about internationalization. So what is internationalization? So it is a process which helps to make your app support multiple languages, and it will help to extend the reach of your app to a worldwide audience. So let's say English is one of the most widely used language, but every country does not speak English. Everybody don't understand English. So you want the people to know other language also, like French, German, and Spanish, etc. So for that we have to use something called internationalization. So internationalization is a very long word, and so we have a shorthand called I18N. The reason for this is there are 18 characters between the first character I and last character N. That's why shorthand is I18N. Now there is something called localization also. So localization is the process for translating our app to a particular language. And we need to apply internationalization to the application, and after that we can localize it to a particular local or a particular language. Localization allows us to serve our application in different languages, and the shorthand for localization is L10N, and the logic is same. There are 10 characters between the first character L and last character N. So when we are going to so what we are going to do today is we will be creating an Angular application, and we will be serving it in three different language: English, French, and German. So what is the first step is that you have to create an Angular application. So I hope that you guys know how to create an Angular application using ng new command of Angular CLI. So I'm not going to show that part. So after you have created your application, you have to install the Angular slash localized package to your application. This package was released as part of Angular 9 release, and it allows us to use the localization features which is provided by the Angular. So one thing I want to discuss here about this package is there are a lot of third-party libraries also, like Transloco is there, ngx translate is there, which also provide translation feature. But Angular localize is the core package of provided by the Angular team or Angular framework. So today we are going to talk about the inbuilt package Angular localize. We are not going to discuss about any third-party package. So to add Angular slash localize, we have to use ng add command. You can see the command ng add space Angular slash localize. Once this so what does this command does? So this command will do the following two things. First, it will install the Angular slash localized package for your Angular application, and second, it will update your polyfill.ts file, which allows the our application to take advantage of Angular localization features. So now next question is how we can create a translation file, how we can create translation for our language. So Angular framework provides us with an attribute which is known as I18N, which can be used to mark any HTML element for translation. So as you can see in the example below, here there is an h1 tag, and I have added the attribute I18N. This means this particular tag is considered for translation by our Angular application. So I will be showing you a demo in latter part of this talk, so you will get a clear understanding that how these things work. And in case if we have to translate any attribute of an HTML tag, then we can have to use I18N attribute as I18N -x, where x represents the name of the HTML attribute which we want to translate. So as you can see in the example here, I want to translate the placeholder attribute of an input tag. So I have given the property name as I18N -placeholder. So that is how it works. So let's go see the code. So here is a form. I have created a feedback form. So the application which I will be creating is a feedback form for a application that is called phrase. So I will be creating a feedback form for phrase. So let's create the feedback form first. So this is I will be using code snippet to save the time. So this is I am using Angular material for styling. So I hope that you guys know how to install Angular material. You can go to the official website and you can see the step. It's pretty simple, straightforward. So let's first we'll be adding an input field. And here you can see in the input field, I have added this attribute I18 and placeholder, which means it will translate this placeholder, which is name. So when we serve the app in different language, this word name will be translated to different language. And here I am using a template driven form. So here you can see I have used the ng model. I have also created a uh, uh, class called feedback.ts. So here is my code for that. Here you can see this is the code for the class, and I'm binding it to object for that. So let's second, we will add a drop down, select drop down for our application, where we will ask for the gender of the person who is giving us the feedback. And here also we have marked I18 and placeholder. Now here you can see there are two tags, I18 and as well as I18 and placeholder. Why we have two tags? The reason for that is I18 and placeholder will only translate for this placeholder, which is gender, whereas this I18N will translate the content inside this mat options, which has male, female, and don't want to disclose. Similarly, for mat error, since this form contains required field validation, we have used I18N. So whatever is written inside this, the content is gender is required. So this particular content will be translated to another language. Let's add the third field. So here we have a text area. In the text area, again we have marked placeholder for translation and as well as for error message. And in the fourth field, we have a radio button. So radio button, we have marked I18 and attribute. This will translate all the three options in radio button. So this is a customer feedback rating. So I have given three options: excellent, good, and bad. So these three will be translated to another language. And we have we have marked error also for translation. So lastly, submit button. So we have a submit button also, and we have marked it for translation. So after we have marked all the file for translation, what does this mean by we have marked the field for translation? This means that whenever we in the next step we will be creating a translation source file. So all of these things which are marked for translation will be created in a translation source file. We will see how this works. So let's go back to our PPT, and we'll see the next step is creation of a translation source file. So after we have prepared the template file for translation, we will extract all the text marked for translation to a translation source file. So the command for that is nz-xi18n. Along with that, it provides us an option for output path. So here I am giving output path as src/translate. So what does this code does? So this command will create a folder called translate inside the src folder, and then create a file known as messages.xlf inside it. So xlf is the standard format of the translation file provided by our Angular application, and the output path option is used to set the output path for the generated translation file. So if you see in the example here, I am using src/translate for my output folder. You can use any other folder for your choice. So let's see the code again, how this is going to work. What happened? Okay. So I have already run this command because this command take a few minutes to run and I don't want to waste time. So if you see here, we have a translate folder created, and inside that we have message.xlf file. There are three other files also. Let's ignore this for now and we'll see what is inside this message.xlf file. So inside the message.xlf file, we have trans unit tag. What is this trans unit tag? Now you see we have some ID which is a random number. Okay, then we have something called source. Okay, and then this context group, and this trans unit is closed. So let's understand what is this. Trans unit stands for translation unit, and this ID is created by our Angular CLI dynamically, and this is a unique ID for each trans unit file. And if you, and this is some internal logic which is there in the code, and this id is dependent on the content. So here if you see, we have a title also, and we have marked it for translation, and this is a title. So this text and this id are correlated with some internal logic which we are not aware of. And so therefore if you change this particular text, then you have to regenerate the file so that this id will be updated. Again, we have context, group, purpose, location, source file. So which is the source file? So here you can see the path is given. So this is the path of this particular file, feedback.component.html. So whole path is given. Then context type line number. Which line number does this have? So this is on line number 4. So it is showing line number 3 because I think it is taking in only one line. That is why it is showing line number 3. So it is giving the line number also of the text which we have to translate. Similarly, you have other trans units file. So similarly, this is for name, and again here is for error, name is required. So for all the tags which we have marked for translation, there will be there will be a trans unit file generated. So what is the use of this trans unit file? We will see in some time. So let's see how it works in case of a drop down list. So in the case of drop down list, it will use the id, and the text here is for all three the text is using, and there is some equivalent text, and there are a lot of other options also provided. And similarly for radio button, where is that? So this is for comment. Comment is a text area. This is the error for comment is required. So all the details are there. Similarly for radio option, here is the title, radio rate our customer service. This is the trans unit tag for that. And here is the trans unit tag for the option inside radio button. So here you can see the ID is related to mat radio button because we are using a mat radio button. Similarly for error rating is required. And finally we have trans unit file for our button, which is submit. So we have created a trans unit file. Now how can we use this trans unit file? So for this application we are we are serving our application in 3 different language, German, English and French. Therefore we have to create 3 copies of this file. Here you can see message.de.xlf. de stands for German, it is a local code for German. This is messages.en.xlf, that is the local code for English, and this is messages.fr.xlf, which is the local, fr is the local code for French. So what I did is I created these 3 files. I copied all the content from messages.xlf and put it inside this. But apart from that, I also did something else. What? Let's see that. So there is a trans unit inside the trans unit file. You can see there is a source, and I have added a something called target also. So this is what I have added. So this says that for every source, replace the content for this part with whatever inside the target for French language. So how it is going to refer to this file, we'll see in a later part of this talk. So this means if we have to generate translation for any particular language, we have to create a target field corresponding to every source field. So here for the title, the source field is whatever is generated in the message.xlf file, and for target, this is a translation we are using. So I am using Google Translate service, but ideally in a real world scenario or for any enterprise level application, you have to refer to a language expert because you cannot always rely on Google Translate for exact translations. Similarly, we have for name, and this is for French, so the target is this norm. Then similarly we have for error, name is required, we have in French, we have translated in French. So and similarly for all others also, similarly here you can see I have marked for the drop down list. So for every source correspondingly we have the target, and for gender the text, and similarly for gender is required, and similarly for all others also. For rate our customer service, and then this is for radio button, here you can see, and then this is for our submit button. So similarly I have done this exercise for DE also. DE stands for German. So DE also I have changed for every source. I have added a target field correspondingly. So source target and source target for everything. Now Our translation file is created. Next step is I have to tell my Angular application that use this file to serve your application. How we will do that? Let's go back to here. So what we have done till now, we have written our HTML application. We have added I18 an attribute to mark all the tags for the translation. Then we created translation file, and we created translation file for all the languages which we want to support. Now next step is we have to serve the application in multiple language, which means now we have the translation file with us, but we need to tell our application, please use this file when you have to search the application in multiple language. So we have to do three changes in angular.json file. For this, first is we have to define the locales in the build configuration. What do you mean by define the locales? Define the locales means we have to define for whatever the language we are going to support for our application. Second, we have to set the localized build in our configuration option. And third option is we have to do some changes for production build. So what are the changes? Let's see that in action. So let's go to, let me close this. Let's go to angular.json file. So let me show you the changes here. So the first, what I did is I have defined the locales in the build configuration. So I'm using I18 and tag for this, and I have defined the locales. So this is very important line. Here you can see that I have defined a key value pair which says that when the locale is en. Yeah, one more thing for locale, locales are standard code for English. Now you can find it on a simple Google search. For every language, there are some standard code which is defined by an international body that define local for every language. For example, for English, it is EN. It will be used EN across everywhere. Same for French, we have FR, and for German, we have DE. That's why we have used the standard codes here. And this is a key value pair. What it is showing is this is showing that if the app language is English, then use the data inside this file. So you remember that we have defined this file here, right? Where is that? Here. So if you can match this, that for French we are serving the application from messages that source/translate/message.fr.xlf, and similarly for German. So this is the place where I am telling my application that go and refer to this particular file for my translation. This is the place. Now we have this. What this is doing, this is here we are setting the localized build configuration option. This will instruct our AOT compiler to use the translation configuration. So if this is for local build, this is when we are running the application is local, then this particular configuration section will be used. So if we are running in configuration as local, then the localization will set to en. So we will see how this works when I run this application. Similarly, if I use fr, then localized build will set to French. If I run in German, then the localized will be set to DE. Now there is third configuration also, which we have to do for the production build only. This will be used only when we are deploying the app to any production server. So which we'll be seeing that also in action in some time. So for production build, for English, we have to just change the build like this, Angular localization, which is our project name. This is my project name, build en. So if you look at this, so when you create the application, this particular production configuration is already provided. You have to copy this configuration and like this, and you have to change the production word with your local code like English, French, and DE. So how this is working, again we will see when we go for the demo. Now what is the next step? Again, so now we have make the changes in angular.json file to serve the app in multiple languages. Now what is the next step? The next step is to execute the app in local environment. So there is, if you guys have heard the keynote talk from Minko, he has told you that in while we cannot change the language of an app at runtime in our local environment, and he has discussed why, like it is giving you some performance benefit and a smaller application, a smaller build size. So that is why we can use only one local at a time while executing the app in the local environment. But in the production environment, we can change the application. We can do some configuration and change it at runtime. So we'll see both in action. Right now, let's see the output. So right now I am going to run this application in German language. So here I have run the application. The code is ng-serve -- configuration equals to DE. So let it run. and we'll see the output. So build is successful, and if you go to localhost 4200, you can see, okay, you can see this also from Google Chrome, which is showing that it is in German. Translate. No, I don't want to translate. If you click on this text, you can see that every text is translated. I am not sure if you can see the output. Let me zoom a bit. Now you can see that all the text which we have marked for translated is translated into German language. Now at the corner you can see there is a drop down just showing English, French, and German. Just ignore it for a now. We'll discuss about this in a bit. So if you see, we are running the application now in German language, and all the text is translated in German, and this content is served from messages.de.xlf file. Now let's go back to our code and check the navbar component. What is happening in navbar component? Navbar component.html. So I have just discussed how to run this in local environment, but what if we want to run it in a production environment? So for production environment, we want to change it at runtime. So for that, I have done some configuration. I have added a menu, which is a drop down menu, and it is a hyperlink. So when we run this, when we click on this, it will change the endpoint URL of our application. And then what I am doing here is I am creating a language list key value pair with the standard local code, and then I'm using the label for that. So that is how it is changed. So if you see, if I select French here, you can see the URL change to FR. If I change German, the URL change to DE. Why I am doing that? This will be helpful in production environment. So we'll see how this is helpful in production environment. Now in local environment, this particular tag or this particular URL is not helpful at all. This will help in production environment. So let's see. If you go here, here using this language list key value pair, using this, we are setting the site language, and then we are setting the site local, taking the value from the URL. So this is how we are setting the site local and the URL. Now next step is how to deploy the app in production. So I am using Firebase. Firebase is free to use. That's why I'm using Firebase. You can deploy to any other website of your choice. The internal logic will be same. So we'll be deploying on Firebase to see how the internationalization works in a production environment, and what are the steps to deploy. The first is to run the command ng build prod localize to create the production build for the application. So I have already run this command, so I'm not going to run this again. I will show you the output. And then we have to deploy to Firebase. We have to install Firebase CLI. So for that, the command is npm install g Firebase tools. So let's see what is happening over here. So I will show you. So when you run the command, that is this ng build prod localize, it will create a dist folder, and inside this folder it will create a folder with the name of your project. So this is Angular localization, my project name. It will create this, and inside that it will create multiple folders as for each locales which you have defined in your application. Now we have defined 3 locales: English, French, and German, but here you can see 4 folders. Why? The reason for that is English US. This is the default local provided by the Angular. It is configured as a default local. So it will always create for this particular local. Apart from this, it will create for all other local which you have created. So how it works is, when I run the app in production for German language, then all the content will be served from this particular folder. So here you can see our build files are present over here. When we run this for English language, then it will be served from this folder. Similarly, when we run for French language, it will be served from this folder. That is why we have 3 different folders for 3 different languages, so that we can serve the application during runtime from 3 different languages. From 3 different folders. Now, how to deploy to Firebase? So to save the time, I have recorded a video So let me know if you can see the video. So here I will be showing you a video of how to deploy to Firebase to save the time. So first step is to do the Firebase login. So these Firebase commands are provided by Firebase CLI, which you have already installed in previous step. So once you do Firebase login, it will open a sign-in page. You have to sign in with your Google account. And once you have signed in with your Google account, one more thing is you have to create a project on Firebase. So since it is out of a scope of this talk and it will take a lot of time, so I have not included in that talk, but I will be providing you with resources at the end of the talk which will help you to understand how it works. So once you have logged in with the Firebase, you have to use the command Firebase init. Firebase init stands for Firebase initialization. Once you initialize the app, it will ask for a confirmation, press Y. So next it will ask for a question, what you want to do. So here we want to do the hosting. That's why we select the hosting option. Then it will ask, please select an option. Do you want to use an existing project or you have to create a new project? Here the project refers to the project which we have created on Firebase, not our local project. So we have to create a project on Firebase. Here I will select use an existing project, and I will be using use the existing project which we have. When I select that option, it will give me the list of all the projects which I have on my Firebase account, which I logged in from. Now it will ask, what do you want to use as your public directory? This is very important point. So you have to give the name of this particular directory, Angular localize. Also you can see there are other files also in this directory. These are created after you have done the configuration for Firebase, but this particular file, which is the same as the name of your project, will be created when you run the ng build prod -localize command. So you for this option, what do you want to use as public directory, you have to give the name of that directory which is the same name as your project. So here I have given a name, and if I configure a single page application, press yes. Now it is asking Firebase crud/index.html already exists, override no. We will select no option because our application, when we create the build configuration, a default index.html file is created, and we don't want to override it. We want to use the same application. Once this configuration is done, at this point of time, you will see all these three extra folders created: Firebase getignore and Firebase JSON files. And final step is Firebase deploy. So once you click on Firebase deploy, it will deploy your app on the Firebase, and it will also give you the hosting URL. So here you can see I have it has given me the hosting URL. So the app which we have built here in this particular demo is hosted here. This is the site Angular localization Firebase app.com/en. So I will be sharing the link at the end. So let's see how this is working. So here you see that I am using en at the end. If I delete that en, it will say that page not found. Why it is saying page not found? Because I told you that they are serving the application from each folders, and that folder name is our local, which we have defined in our URL. So the URL, the local is English, so that's why it is everything in English here. Now at this point of time, this drop down comes into effect. Now as soon as I click on French, the URL will change to French, the app will reload, and everything will be translated to French language. This thing is only possible in production environment, not possible in local environment. Similarly, go for German, and here the local or the local will change to DE, and all the text is translated to German language. And here you can see that this is text is translated at runtime. Now there are one or two things which you need to consider. What are those two things? First is here, if you see, I am using a save feedback button. So what does this mean? Let's say if I put some value and something and click on submit button, here you can see a successful message, but this is in English, this is not in German. Why? Because whatever we keep in .ts file, we cannot translate into other languages as of now. This is the current limitation. So whatever you have in .ts file, you cannot translate to other languages using the built-in IIT modules. We can use some third-party application as well. Apart from this, if you want to test if you want to run multiple language in local environment, then you might want to check some third party application like Transloco or NGX Translate. They are very good and they provide a lot of extra features also. So I have recently been working with Transloco. That is a great third-party application for translating your apps to multiple languages. So go and check that out also. At the end, this is the most important slide for your application for this talk. Go and take a screenshot, or I will be sharing these links on Twitter also after this talk, but I will request you to take a screenshot. So first is a blog. So whatever I have discussed now in this talk is written in this blog. You can go and read everything there with all the links provided to GitHub code. Here also I have provided the link to GitHub code, which is the second link. So you can go read the blog where I have described what are I18N attributes, what is internationalization, what is localization, how to create this file, this particular application, step by step, how to deploy on Firebase. Everything is described in this blog. You can go to GitHub, check the code also, and finally you can read articles related to Angular and .NET and Blazor and other Microsoft technologies at my blog, that is ankitsharmablogs.com. So that's all from my end. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you like my talk. Please share your feedback on Twitter and LinkedIn or Facebook, on all social media channel. I am available everywhere. So thank you all for joining.